wrestling fans? How you guys doing? This is your boy, your host for the evening, Mr. Team Bring It. Welcome to another edition of #Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast, episode 70. So, my co-host, Mr. Matt, he will be catching up with us on the other half of the show. But tonight we're going to have an awesome show for you. I am here right now with a big-time wrestler in Georgia. He's a former Georgia Independent Wrestling Alliance heavyweight champion. He's also a former Rampage Pro Intercontinental champion. He's also a Rampage Pro Tag Team Champion with his former partner, Murder One, ladies and gentlemen, AJ Steele. How you doing,
sir.
AJ?
Thank you, sir. I'm doing better than you tonight, I feel.
So AJ is throwing shots at me because right now I literally have a temperature of 99.6, so I got a slight fever, and everybody's like wondering, like, Chris, what the fuck is wrong with you for coming on here and going ahead with the show? Just like my boy Aaron said, because he also threw a shot at me, if Michael Jordan can actually win the game and have a 50-point scoring game, then I know my fat ass can come on here and do the same thing. But I'm just not scoring points. I'm just running my mouth, basically. But anyway. So, yeah, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to kind of break down the show a little bit. First, I'm going to have a mini little interview with AJ, my boy AJ, over here. And then we'll talk about Raw, SmackDown, and FASTLANE, okay? So first, let's begin with AJ Steele. So me and you have been talking over the last week or whatever, offline or whatever, and I did see some of your shows down in Georgia and then Kentucky. You've basically been all over the southern states, whatever, wrestling. And to my knowledge, you debuted in '96, so you've been in the wrestling business for about 30 years, all right?
Yeah, it's been 20-something years. It seems like 30 because my body is definitely letting me know that I'm getting older, so that's why I had to kind of slow down on a full wrestling schedule, and I just do shows every now. I haven't done one in about 2 years now, so we had to chill out a little bit and make a little bit of a career change.
Okay, and also you also mentioned that one of your mentors was Marty Jannetty. Where did you meet Marty from?
All right. I met Marty in Columbus, Georgia. Marty was trained by Jerry Oates. I don't know I'm sure a lot of people know who Jerry Oates is, but he owned Oates Gyms in Columbus, Georgia. And Marty was trained by Jerry, and Marty, of course, would pop in when, he was in town because he was still doing the stuff with Shawn Michaels, and they were the Rockers, and, of course, they were all over the place. But Marty was one of those guys that always came home, and when he came home, he gave back. He always, interacted with the young guys, myself and a couple of other guys that were there that were training, and he was always full of information. And, as far as the psychology of wrestling goes, that's who taught me the psychology of wrestling. Like Jerry Oates taught me the moves, taught me, what to do, but Marty Jannetty taught me what to do and when to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not all about just going out and just doing moves, because if moves don't make sense, it goes back to the story that's being told in the ring. Marty Jannetty taught me how to tell the story.
Now, when you mean, now, I don't know if you can elaborate, because, you can do it in the ring, but I don't know if you can elaborate, but, let's, have a little conversation.
Well, as far as telling the story?
Yeah, like telling the story in the ring for the fans that probably don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, obviously it's a physical story that's being told with your body. Give you a scenario. You got two guys in the ring. Something happens. They're working their match. Something happens. A guy goes for a move. He misses. The other guy gets on his leg. I mean, like I said, it's a psychology thing. You know what I'm saying? And the story unfolds as the match unfolds. So
Now, you also said something about, like maybe not even 2 minutes ago. You said or psychological, playing mind games with your opponent in the ring.
Right.
Now, we look at today's wrestling. Do you think, versus 20 years ago to now, do you think that they kind of lost that art in the ring?
I think it kind of just depends on who you look at, because there's some guys that have, it's like one of those things where if it's not broke, don't fix it, because there's some guys that still, ultimately a story is being told. It's just some are better storytellers than others. I don't think that of course the moves have evolved. There's a lot more, crazier moves, bigger moves, but back in the day, a match would end if a guy drop kicked another guy off the top rope. That was it. The match was over. Nowadays, you see a drop kick off the top rope. It's just another part of the match. So I just really feel like certain things haven't changed. They just have gotten bigger and maybe a little more extreme or more extravagant. But the storytelling part is still there. 20 years ago, you were telling a story. Today, you're still telling the same story. It's just bigger, maybe on a bigger stage or a bigger situation. It just depends on who's telling the story.
Now, we also talked about, because I've seen some of your matches on YouTube. You are very agile for for a wrestler your size. So, so my question to you is, like, I know you fought some big names. We have talked about that. One of them was MVP. They used to be in the WWE. Now, at any point during your career, did you fight Marty Jannetty?
No. All of the stuff that I did with Marty Jannetty in rings was of course like training. Like all of that was all training aspects. Wrestling Marty before a show, like training and practicing and different things like that, but like actually wrestling him at a show where there was, a crowd and all that stuff, I never got the chance to do in front of a bunch of people. As far as time, I've wrestled him 100 times, just learning and going over stuff, rolling on the mat and things like that. So that time that I spent with him is priceless, because I learned so much from him.
Now, like I said, there's some big names that you fought. So you fought MVP. Who else did you cross paths with? That was probably one of your best matches.
Yeah, Bull Buchanan was a big match that I had in a singles match, and I also wrestled Bull Buchanan and D'Lo Brown in Bull Buchanan's retirement match. We had a few years ago. He had a retirement match, and he called in. D'Lo Brown was his partner over in All Japan Wrestling, and they were like tag team champions over there. So for him to end his career tagging with D'Lo Brown, it was a big thing to him, and he requested that me and Murder One be their opponents. Murder One wasn't able to show up that night, so there was another guy that was they just kind of pulled somebody out. But that was a big deal, working with D'Lo Brown, working with Bull Buchanan. Me and Murder wrestled the New Age Outlaws, which we, Billy Gunn and Jesse James. The Iron Sheik, April of 2000, I wrestled the Iron Sheik. That was a really big match that I had. Coming up, I wrestled the Honky Tonk Man, Jimmy Snuka. I'm trying to think who else. Of course, MVP. MVP was probably that was one of the better matches that I had, because I had so much respect for him and what he did and how he went about doing things. He's very professional. At the WCW Power Plant, I was able. Now, this wasn't necessarily in front of a public audience, but I was able to get in the ring with like Rey Mysterio, Conan, I wrestled a guy named Jason Cross that used to wrestle for TNA. I wrestled AJ Styles before he was in TNA. Sonny Siaki from TNA. David Young from TNA. Elix Skipper. Eric Watts. Terry Taylor. I worked with Terry Taylor. I was in a steel cage match with Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard. I've been around for some time, so I've seen a few faces.
And I see that, and that's why I said, like, Matt wasn't kidding when he said that you are one of the big time names in down in Georgia. So
right.
We also talked about this part, which we will be talking about tonight as well. So what do you think is, like, throughout your career, what do you think was, like, one of your biggest challenges as a black wrestler and, making a name for yourself? Did you face a lot of adversity? Because, in the South, we know that, racism is real. And,
right.
Not a lot of African-Americans get a lot of opportunities, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
So can you, share that with us?
Well, honestly, in my situation, I have always been, and I would say 75-80% of the time that coming up in the business in the late 90s and early 2000s, I was usually one of the only black guys on a show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a gift and a curse because the gift was when you have a whole lot of black people, then one guy doesn't stand out. You know what I'm saying? So I stood out. And the whole thing about this wrestling thing is you have to bring something to the table that's unique, something that's different from everybody else, right? So what is more different than 98% of the show being white guys and me being a 280-pound black guy? You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't very difficult. I experienced some racism a few times, but I can honestly say, for me, I can't speak for no one else, it wasn't that bad for me because I was placed in a situation where I was one of the only. So I started, as my career went on, of course, there was other black guys that I would meet, and sometimes we would click up, sometimes we wouldn't. So that was kind of another way that me and Murder One wound up getting together with each other. And it was a white guy that actually put us together, Micah Taylor, who was a former WWE trainee at one of their developmental territories in Atlanta before they went down to Florida. And he trained with guys like Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and all those guys. So he knew what he was doing when he put me and Murder together, and we formed the Usual Suspects. But back to your question though, like I've seen things happen with guys not being used properly, or black guys being like never going over on anybody, or being put in the ring with guys, 10 times smaller than them, and the smaller guy getting put over. I mean, when you're a booker, you run the show the way you want to. So if there is any racism, it would be stuff like that. Fortunately for me, guys I carried myself with respect. I treated the people that I dealt with respect, and I got respect in return. So I can't say that I had a lot of racism to have to deal with.
Now, speaking of, this respect that you carry, in all of these territories that you wrestled in, let's talk a little bit about one of the companies you ran. You was a co-founder of Rampage Pro Wrestling, correct?
Yes.
And you was how long was you the co-founder before you had to break off?
And like I told you before, I'm not good with numbers, but from
what
I understand, okay, good. From what I understand, Rampage ran for about 8 years. I want to say, I remember it was our first show was on September 1st of, I want to say, like 2004, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Gayton. He is a eye surgeon who created some type of eye surgery that he's like the inventor of or whatever. So he's like a bigwig in the whole doctor community. He's got a bunch of money. And so he was a huge wrestling fan. He and I had a mutual friend. I sat down with him, and he said he wanted to start a wrestling promotion. And I said, well, I know everybody that you need in the southeastern states. What do you need? How much money do we have to play with? Mm-hmm. Rampage debuted September 1st or 11th, one of the two, but every show that we had except for our big shows was on television. So we literally he started a television show. Me and Jason Cross booked the first 4 months of the TV, and we had guys, Rampage grew over the years, and we had guys come through there like Daniel Bryan, Bull Buchanan. A lot of guys from Ring of Honor came through. There was Rampage was just the place to go. It was just it was so hot. I mean, and it had TV. So there was a lot of guys trying to get Cedric Alexander, who's now one of the cruiserweight guys up at WWE. He was there every week. One of the members of New Day, Xavier Woods, he was there every week. So it had a lot of guys that went on to become, pretty big names. Luke Gallows, who, is another guy that's another guy that I worked and wrestled with against too. He went on, to go to TNA and then go to Japan and make a big name for himself there and come back here. So, I mean, it had a lot of people, and it went on for a while. Vordell Walker. I'm sure you know who Vordell Walker is. Vordell Walker is another guy who was constantly on Rampage.
I believe so, because like I said, you might be bad with names. I'm bad with face. I'm bad with names, but I'm good with faces. If I see his face, I'll say, yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
So, just 2 more questions in. Matt Aaron, if he got a question for you. Also, we got Maurice on the line. I believe he want to ask you a question. So you also are my co-host, Matthew Collins. You're his mentor, correct?
Right.
And how long you been mentoring him, and how did you meet him?
Well, to be totally honest with you, I don't remember where I met Matt, because Matt would pop up at shows, and Matt would ask questions, and you would always see him in a ring. You would always see him just sitting back, sort of just watching everything, just taking it all in. And dedicated, very, very dedicated. And people have to understand, in order to get better at anything, you have to learn your craft. And when you're passionate about it, and that's one of the things that I was going to say about you, like even with you being sick right now, one of the things that caught my attention about you was your passion for the business. I respect that, because it's genuine. People, anybody, even somebody that has never watched the show, if they see you talk about wrestling, whether it's something that I agree with or I don't, whatever the topic is, your passion shows through the television or shows through the Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you're on. So when you see guys like that, like Matt, he was full of questions, and who am I to not give you information if I have it? You know what I'm saying? In order to make a person better, I'm here to help. That's the way this thing works. Like, I have some time in the business. I've had a couple of years over him. So my thing is give back. You know what I'm saying? Show him the things that I learned over the road, and the people that I was able to, get in the ring with and teach me. I return the favor and try to help him do the same thing with him. So if it was like he would call me about working out or, just whatever, I'm never going to turn him down.
That's what's up. And it shows with Matt, because, when you see him in his promos, I've never seen an angry black man like Aaron, like Matt. Just like, he goes from 0 to 100. I'm going to be like, damn. I see a couple of his promos before. I'm just like, dude, you do not want to piss him off.
Well, the thing about it isn't that what this is all about? You have to make people that you don't know believe in you enough to come buy a ticket to watch you fight whoever it is that you're directing that promo to. So if they don't believe it and you don't believe it, what's the point in coming to watch it?
I agree. Because every time that you, if you're in the ring or if you're on the card, the one thing that I notice is that wrestlers have to promote themselves. Like, you're basically the product, and you want to put yourself out to the consumer because you want them to buy them tickets for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are the ones that is responsible for your paycheck. You know what I'm saying? If you don't put it out there, you ain't going to get paid. So they was like, but shit, I want to see him. He trash.
Right.
Shit, I was gonna ask you one last thing. Shit, because we was talking about this. I think it was a couple of days ago. Well, shit, why you haven't went to the WWE? Or did you have plans to go to the WWE? Now, you did mention about TNA. Now, I don't know how far did you go, but
I mean, like, who? I don't know. Well, nowadays there's other avenues to go. When I was coming up, of course, the WWE was the promised land. That was where everybody wanted to go. If you didn't want to go to the WWE, why are you doing it? Right. To be honest with you, some of it is knowing the right people, being in the right place at the right time, and wrestling in front of the right people at the right time. And I have done that. A lot of one of my problems was, and I don't have a problem with saying this, you can't become complacent with where you are, because if you become complacent with working on your local independent show and you feel like you're a big wig on your local independent show, or you're making $150 on your local independent show, you think that you've reached somewhere. Like you've done something. You have not done anything. You have not done anything until you have an agent or a talent scout from one of the major companies calling you saying, hey, we need to know when you can come down and do a tryout, or we need to know if we can, we got a show here in Wichita, Kansas. Can you meet us there and do a tryout? Until you have that happening, what you're doing in your local town is nothing. I don't care how much money you're making, unless you're buying a house or you're, financing a business with this money, you ain't making no money. So I got complacent. I got comfortable with the little bit of money that I was making because I was always, trying to main event somebody else's show. Every show that I've been a part of, I was the champion at one time or another. So I got complacent. I was like, why should I have to do? Wardell Walker was traveling all over the country, and I would call Wardell and say, hey, where you at? And he would be like, well, I'm on my way to St. Louis. And I'd be like, man, it's a long-ass drive. No, I'm good. I'll just stay here in Georgia, do Georgia, Florida, maybe Tennessee, Alabama. And that was close to home for me. But you can't become complacent. The minute you become complacent, you might as well pack your bags up and go home, because there's more to the world than Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee. You got to start getting out to California. Look at Austin Theory right now. I just saw his Instagram. He was in Mexico one day, California one day, New Jersey one day, Georgia one day, Atlanta. I mean, he's everywhere. He's everywhere, and I guarantee you, he's on WWE's radar right now.
And like you said, it's all about selling yourself. If you don't sell yourself,
you ain't
no one ain't gonna know who you are.
Exactly.
Exactly. Aaron, did you have a question for AJ?
I did have a question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that you were C-Dog or one of C-Dog's mentors.
Yes, sir.
And I noticed, and I remember when they were talking about his promo style. First off, C-Dog is one. C-Dog is one of the best promos I've heard. Period.
Okay.
In wrestling, I'll put C-Dog in my top 5.
Okay.
But my idol is has always been Jake the Snake Roberts, and I want to know, one, have you ever met him or did you ever work with him? And two, what did you think of his promo style? Because I always thought, even when I do promos in my little EFED thing that I do, I always try to model myself after him. I try to speak, I talk softly, but it's not how loud you are, it's what you say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Agreed, 100%. To answer the first question, unfortunately, when I have met Jake Roberts. One time I was 8 years old in Madison Square Garden, which was at the very first wrestling match that I ever went to. I met Jake the Snake Roberts and Andre the Giant in the same night. This was in 1988, I believe. That was the first time I met him, and then many, many years later in Fort Valley, Georgia, I believe it was Fort Valley, Georgia, I met him again. The bad part about that is Jake had a bad time, and there was a long stretch of years where he wasn't doing real well, and he was, everybody got some issues or whatever, and he was going through some stuff at that point. And it was great to meet him because of who he was, but it wasn't a very good experience because of what he was going through at the time. So, of course, you don't fault him for that. We all fall down. We get back up. We move on. And clearly now you see that he's completely changed his life, and he's in a lot better place now. As far as his promos go, a lot of people, what you just said was big. It's not what you say. It's not how loud you are. It's what you say.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people say that the Undertaker scares them. As a kid, watching or growing up as a kid, watching the Undertaker versus watching Jake Roberts, I was way more afraid of Jake Roberts because when a man, anybody will tell you, all that rah-rah shit, when you in the street and the guys that's telling you, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to fight you, I'm going to beat you up, that's not the guy you got to worry about. It's the guy that's standing over there in the corner softly telling you, I'm going to get your ass later. I'm going to see you. He's softly telling you, we going to slow dance, me and you. But you don't see that part because you're looking at the rowdy, rah-rah dude that ain't really going to do shit. You're looking at him. You focused on that guy. But the dangerous one that you need to be worried about is the quiet guy over in the corner. So Jake Roberts had that aura about him. When he would talk to you, it was piercing. It was like you did something to him directly, and he was coming after you. It wasn't the other millions of people that was watching. It was you that he was coming after. And then, you got a snake on you on top of all of that. You sitting there, you're in the shower, and you're talking to somebody, and every now and then you just raise your voice just enough to get somebody's attention, and then you go back to that quiet. That was the spookiest dude I ever seen on TV, dude, bro. I mean, there's no two ways around it. He by far had the best promos in the business to me. Everybody talks about Dusty Rhodes, and and I'm not taking nothing away from none of the guys that have done this, but I agree. Jake Roberts to me did the best promos.
I would definitely agree with that. I remember one of my favorite memories of him, his promos, because you know how WWF back in the day, on like Superstars or Wrestling Challenge, they would have say there was a match between two people, they would cut to a promo by the heel first, and then a promo by the face, basically responding to it.
Right.
So it was during Jake the Snake and his rivalry with Earthquake of all people, and Earthquake is doing the rah rah. He's jumping up and down. Jake, I hate Snake. I hate you. And I'm gonna do that.
Right.
And they cut to Jake. And the first thing he goes, "Big man, you want to warn me?" You know, he goes. I said, Lord, he's about to lay it on this man.
Yeah.
And he goes, my mother used to warn me when I was a kid, and I noticed that it was always the things she warned me I shouldn't do that were always the most fun.
Right.
I said, Jake, take all this money. I want to see what you were going to do.
Bro, sound like a damn serial killer.
Yeah.
Dead
well,
ass.
I mean, the thing about it is the crazy thing about it is it's just as important.
I said, Jake, listen, bruh. I get allowance every 2 weeks. You can have it here.
It's the crazy thing about it is just as important as a person's wrestling style is. Everybody's got different wrestling styles. You know, you got your ground effect. You got your guys that do your technical wrestling. You got your high flyers. You got your punch and kick guys. Your promos are just as important, or sometimes even more important, than the ability that you have in the ring. You have to be able to back up what you say. If you're going to talk like Jake Roberts, you have to be able to come in and back up everything that you say, win or lose. So you have to work on your promos just as much as you work on your actual wrestling. So like you said with Sea-Dog, I've watched him go from, and I'll just be straight up with you, garbage promos. Like, I'm going to beat you up, and if you show up, I'm gonna beat you up. You hear guys with they lost. They don't know what they don't know what they're saying because they don't believe what they're saying. So if you don't believe what you're saying, how are you going to get 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 other people to believe what you're saying? You're not. So you have that's the number one thing to me, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion. For those that don't like it, oh well. You have got to believe what you're saying and who you are. If you don't believe who you are and what you're saying to be true, you're not going to sell any tickets because nobody's going to believe you.
Sure.
That's a fact.
Sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a caller, and then we're going to jump into the second half of our show for Raw, SmackDown, and FASTLANE. Let me check. Maurice? Maurice, you there?
Hey,
Hey,
how you doing, everybody?
Hey,
doing good.
What's up? All right, so did you have a question for AJ?
Yeah, I did, man. By the way, AJ, first of all, pleasure to talk to you, man. My question was, how do you feel about, how do you feel about the wrestling world overall? Do you feel like we're shifting back to a more athletic approach? Because if you notice how, a lot of indie guys are now starting to get into the forefront of things, and then, of course, the women are starting to take to the main event, do you think we're now kind of getting into that aspect of where we're focusing more on athleticism now?
I mean, to me, yes, I do agree that is the case, because it's like he asked me a question earlier. Where do I think wrestling has evolved from 20 years ago to now? There were guys that did some of the stuff that they're doing now, but it wasn't as many people. Now you have so many people that are coming out of the. I'm talking with 1 year in the game or 2 years in the game that are doing things that are so spectacular in the ring. It's almost inhuman. It's like a video game. It's like a live video game. You know what I'm saying? And so the only problem with that is, and I've heard people say this, is once you start setting the bar so high on these moves that you're doing, how do you top them? Then it becomes dangerous. The athleticism is off the chart right now. There's a lot of guys doing stuff that I would never even dream of doing. But the question is, how do you top it? So, once you do all of these, Spanish flies, and you got a guy doing the back flip and the front flip at the same time, what do you have to do to top that? So me personally, like I said, there's so many different styles of wrestling. With the athleticism changing and the men and women becoming way more athletic, it just makes it that much harder to do, number one, and it's going to change the way fans look at it, because what are they going to want to see? Are they going to want to see that old school style of grinding, arm drags, and, down on the mat stuff, or are they going to want to see these guys that are coming out here doing these, amazing flips and different moves and stuff that they're doing? So it sort of puts a potential dangerous situation on the guys that are so athletic, because you got to keep trying to raise the bar.
Exactly. Reese, did you have another question?
Also this, just to fill it up, and also because I know, like, a lot of people that, a lot of fans also want to kind of knock the looks of, saying, I got, like, all the indie call-ups going over to NXT or Ring of Honor or the AEW, and I was like, what do you think causes, as a performer, what do you think causes some of that division amongst fans? Because it's like, because I carry this mentality when it comes to that. I was like, hold on, you're going to knock somebody who was an indie guy, but it was like, where the hell do you think half of those guys who make the big time started from?
Well, and the funny thing is okay, so Chris and I talked about this the other day as well. There's like two ways to get into the business, okay? There's the old-fashioned way, which is like what you're saying. You start in the indies, you make a name for yourself in a territory, you move to another territory, you make a name for yourself there, you move to another territory, you make a name for yourself there. You make a big enough name for yourself that the big companies have no choice but to find out who you are. Okay, there's that way, which is the old school way, which is the way I came in, because you had to go through the independents and wrestle everywhere in order to make a name. The other way is, nowadays you can go to NXT training camp, or you can go to somebody else's training camp that's affiliated with the NXT, or you can go to Ring of Honor and knows this person and has this person train you, and you walk right in the door. Okay, so the guys that are on the independent circuits that are busting their ass, making $20 a night, are looking at the guys that started already at the top as saying, you guys didn't really pay your dues. Like, how many National Guard armories did you wrestle in? Or how many barnyards did you train in? Or how many shows did you do in the car lot? You know what I'm saying? There's really a respect for the guys and girls that started in the independent circuit. And then there's almost a disrespect for the ones that started at NXT or started at the top. The problem is that both are putting in the same amount of work, because in order to get on television, you have to work. In order to get to the WWE or Ring of Honor or New Japan or All Japan or any major company, you have got to put in work. So the work has to be done either situation. It just seems like the grind is a lot harder when you start from the very bottom and work your way. CM Punk, we had, a lot of people know CM Punk's story. He started out in the indies and worked his way up. Johnny Gargano, what's his name, Ciampa, all of those guys that are coming off the AJ Styles. AJ Styles worked independent shows that I work. So I've seen these guys grind. I've seen these guys work in front of 80 people, 8 people, 800 people, 8,000 people, 80,000 people. And then you turn around and you see Bianca Belair. Where has Bianca Belair ever worked other than NXT? NXT. So she didn't have to go through the $20 matches or the driving your car for 16 hours one way to get to a show and then make 40 you and 4 other people in a car make a little bit of money, and then have to drive home and go to work on Monday morning. You know what I'm saying? She didn't necessarily have to do that, but she still had to put in the work to learn her craft day in and day out. So I don't think there should be a disrespect. I think there should be a mutual respect for each other. One had to just go through a little bit more. Daniel Bryan, I mean, he went through it all. He's done the independents. He went overseas. He did everything he needed to do. Does he have less respect for a guy that was at, NXT? He shouldn't, because they both put in the work. So I just think it should be a mutual respect between everybody.
All right. Well,
can I jump in a little bit on that?
Go ahead.
On the NXT front, I can attest that they do go through a little bit of that grind, because I attend NXT shows pretty much regularly out here in Jacksonville at the National Guard Armory up the street from me.
Okay.
And I can tell you, like, NXT/WWE, they do not give a fuck about your past resume. Like, I mean, and I say this because, like, you'll go to an NXT show, and for the love of God, Deonna Purrazzo is patting you down as security. Like, Deonna Purrazzo, world class athlete, is working security, patting you down and winding you down and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the reason for that,
they do not give a fuck about your past. They'll definitely, you gotta work.
That,
yeah.
Exactly. The reason for that is because they are making you respect the business. Just like on independent shows, if you guys were to ever go to an independent show, let's say the doors open at 1 o'clock, the ring crew comes in at 1:30. Mm-hmm. Do you know that most independent shows, if you are in training, if you have yet to have a match, if you're a trainee, you are going to help the ring crew set the ring up.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with NXT, I saw some behind-the-scenes footage of NXT where the wrestlers were out there putting the ring together. Baron Corbin, I saw, helping them put different parts of the ring together. Just different wrestlers that are now on either Raw or SmackDown. That is a part of you paying your dues. The difference between paying your dues on NXT and paying your dues at a local independent show is that's still the WWE that you're in. You're still at the top of the game. You see what I'm saying? It don't get much bigger than WWE. So even if you're patting down and you're doing security for free and you're not getting paid for that, you are still an employee of WWE. How many people can say that they are actually that? So it's still a difference. No disrespect to those that did start out in NXT, because, like I said, they still had to put in the work. And the WWE, the people that are in the training facilities and stuff, they know what it's like to have to put the work in. That's why they make those people go out and make Deonna Purrazzo pat you down, or they make, Mia Yim is help putting the ring together. Whoever is there, you're going to pull your weight. And that's just respecting the business and learning from the ground up.
Okay. Nah, this is some good shit. Because if for the people that are listening right now, we actually have 2 wrestlers in here, but we have one in here that's been in the business for a very long time. You guys really need to pay attention, especially if you're trying to become a wrestler. This is knowledge that you're not going to get every day. So that's why you guys really need to listen up, you know what I'm saying, and respect the business. Don't, come on a podcast or come on, on a social media site just because you've seen something on a gossip site does not mean that you know everything about the business. If you really want to learn about the business, you need to study it. Study its craft, just like what AJ said. You need to study it inside and out. Not just outside, but inside as well. We're going to take another caller, and then we're going to go ahead to our next segment. Cruz, you on?
Yeah, this is me.
Hey, what's up, Cruz?
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. I love tonight's podcast. brother, you have got something great going on. But I do have to ask, with this phenomenon that is Kofi Mania.
I knew you was going to ask that. Go ahead.
IWC to a certain level. I have not seen this kind of level of positivity. Brothers, do you think this is what is your opinion about black wrestling fans supporting black wrestlers? Because I have not seen enough of it over my 41 years. And I've always been one to say, man, we have got to be the first ones to love a Coco Beware, to love a Bobo Brazil, to love a Farouk, to push a Kofi Kingston. And now I'm finally seeing it, and I'm filled with joy over here. I'm definitely all in with Kofi Kingston. What is your opinion, and for everyone out there? And thank you, Chris, for letting me ask this question.
Yeah, no problem. AJ, go ahead.
My opinion is real simple. I mean, here you have a man who is, they're saying it on the television show. They're not telling you anything that's not true. 11 years Kofi has been, with the company. That's not including, see, Kofi came up and Kofi did independent shows as well. Now, whether you know about him or not is different, because he may not have done some of the bigger independent shows, but Kofi got his start, wrestling at the smaller shows. So 11 years at WWE, there's no telling how many other years that he put his work in before he got to the WWE. So you got to give him credit there, number one. He's a ridiculous athlete. He, as like the other guy was saying, these guys with the athleticism, they got clips of Kofi doing stuff at the Royal Rumble, keeping, himself from getting eliminated. Nobody else is doing that. You know what I'm saying? So to see him as a black athlete, he's amazing. And he should have gotten this push years ago. And I mean, and they have pushed him mediocrely, at different times throughout the 11 years. It's not like he just wasn't doing anything, because, when he first came in, he did some stuff with, I think, Evan Bourne, and they pushed him as a tag team, and then they pushed him a little bit as an intercontinental. Kofi Kingston is a go-to guy. When you need that good match in the middle of the card, you put him in the ring with just about anybody. At one point, it was Randy Orton. Kofi and Randy had a program. I think there was some real heat in the story somewhere. And I was told that Randy Orton got him knocked off and pushed him back down. But the point is that you're right. There's a lot of great black wrestlers. Chris and I just recently had a conversation about Shelton Benjamin, and I told Chris, my opinion on that, and as why didn't Shelton Benjamin get a bigger push than what he did? But you got to have all three of those things. Shelton Benjamin's got a great body. He can work. Can he talk that great? That's maybe not necessarily his strong point at the time. I don't know about now, but you got a bunch of phenomenal black athletes, and they're getting pushed. They don't get pushed as much as they should, but when you have this monster that's the WWE, you kind of got to take what they give you, unfortunately, and just kind of go with it. I mean, I don't know what they plan on doing with Kofi. I got a feeling that he'll be in the match at WrestleMania, though, and I know you said you wanted to talk about that later on, but Kofi Kingston is a phenomenal worker. He's a great worker, and he's contributed a lot of great moments to the business.
Definitely, and yes, we're definitely going to talk about Kofi later in the podcast. But before we go on to the next segment, first, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interview you. I've been wanting to interview you for years. It's just we've been Facebook friends, but we really never had that dialogue like we did last week.
Right.
So I do appreciate this because I really learned a lot about you over the last week or so. So and also to Matt, thank him for for
connecting us up, because it was him really that got us.
That's really cool, because I'm just like, damn, I haven't did an interview with a wrestler like in some years or whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, I got my swag back. Hell yeah!
Well, like I said, I appreciate the platform that you've given me here tonight, and the other thing is, even how we wound up talking and the reason why we wound up talking was based off of your passion for the business, and I respect you have an opinion just like all of the other millions of people that watch wrestling. Everybody, that's the beauty of wrestling, because for those 2 hours or 3 hours that we watch, whatever the product is that they put out there to us, whether we like it or we don't, or whether we boo or we cheer, for that time, we're in that space and we're all loving the same thing. We all love and respect what the guys do. And like I said, I can say that as a fan of wrestling first, because I was a fan before I was ever a wrestler, and I'm still a fan. So I respect your passion and your desire to learn more about the business, not just from a fan standpoint, but we also talked about you learning it from the other side of it to see. Exactly, because now when you see it from both views, when you see it from a fan standpoint, and then you go behind the scenes and you see what the work that the guys put in to give you the product that they're giving you, it makes you respect the game that much more.
Exactly.
So I appreciate that you gave out.
Yeah, no problem. So once again, everyone, AJ Steele, former heavyweight champion in Georgia. You sticking around, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit. We're gonna bring on Mr. C-Dog. Now, Matt, hopefully you're ready.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. I was
C-Dog.
Hey, what's going on?
All right, so the first item that we're going to talk about is, like I said, I'm going to dib and dab a little bit from Raw and SmackDown. So if I miss something, please bring it up, please. Thank you so much. So let's talk about the Shield. The Shield.
Oh man.
Not all at once, because I'm sick of the Shield. I'm not at the point now. I'm sick of the Shield. I'm not talking about the slight fever that I have right now. I'm tired of the Shield. Now remember, we have talked about this on numerous times about the oversaturation of pushing folks down our throat. That's totally unnecessary. So
Roman Reigns.
Exactly. So the Shield reformed for the last time, quote unquote, and I'm still, wondering about that shit. What did you guys think about that shit this Monday? I mean, do you think it was necessary? I mean, do you think it's a bigger plot? Any way y'all can answer, it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna let somebody else go first.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. Honestly, I really don't know, because while I'll admit I enjoyed the setup of it, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm like, what are the real reasons? What are the reasons that we're doing this? Is it because Roman's back, or is WWE still trying to be like, oh, well, Dean's leaving after WrestleMania? And
I mean, bro, could it be a little bit of both? Do you think? Because what they're trying to do is
you guys are both forgetting a very, very big thing.
What's that?
And I told you the other day, the big thing that you're both forgetting is money.
Right.
Whether you like it or you don't like it, whether Dean Ambrose leaves or he doesn't leave, money is the reason, because the fans love the Shield. Because why break them up and then have Dean Ambrose burn the shirt and, you know, all of this stuff that he did to turn right back around a couple of months later to get right back together? Because it works.
That is true.
But AJ, see, here's the thing that I have that issue with. I totally get about, you know, Shield makes money. Totally get it. The thing about it is it also has long-term repercussions as well. Because as you can see, Dean Ambrose had a trash-ass, like, heel turn. Like, I mean, dude had one of the biggest heel turns in this decade. And yet, what dude didn't have anything to show for it? He don't have shit to show for it. I'm just saying, that's just my opinion.
Ready to leave? He didn't have nothing to show for it because they thought he was going to leave. So why give him anything if you're leaving? But
okay,
now,
so around that time that he turned heel, they thought that he was leaving, basically.
Right. I mean, they know when a contract is going to run out. So why are we going to put a belt on you if you're leaving, just to take it right back off you? You know what I'm saying?
True.
That doesn't make any sense either.
That's true. Did someone have a comment?
Yeah. I definitely have a comment.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God. Why? Just why? Yeah, I mean, y'all couldn't wait. Vince, you just couldn't fucking wait to pull this trigger again, could you? I mean, the man ain't even in the door good yet, Vince, and you are thrusting this man in our face yet again. I mean, okay, week one, when he announced he came back, I didn't have the reaction that I usually have when his music hits, which was, here we go. Okay? Mm-hmm. I was happy. I was happy to see him back. Great. Good. He's here. Great. Wonderful. Then along came this week. And as soon as I heard his theme music, I went, I'm not going to say it. I was like, I'm not going to say it. He beat cancer. He's still a hero. No, I'm not going to say it. And then the minute he started talking about bringing the quote-unquote band back together, that's when I finally said, here we go.
It's like you said, it's money. Roman's back. He's in remission. Dean's getting ready to leave. We got to do it one more time. The Hounds of Justice have to be together one last time.
Matt, I resisted every urge just now to yell out, fuck that. Like, I mean, bruh. No. I say this so much, but we don't need to do this. We don't need to do and then I'm hearing that this God forsaken storyline is going to run past WrestleMania.
Jesus.
I mean, why? Fucking why?
I think the WWE is just running out of ideas. I think that's what that is. I think, honestly, they are trash. And also they,
in your fucking face.
There's
an idea right there, open, clear as day. I said it the other day, bro.
Now, bro, they are hiring, experienced, quote unquote, wrestlers that's been in the business for a very long time. So that might help them.
Stop it.
Okay.
Stop it.
All right.
Stop it.
Fine.
Because that's clearly not a factor here. bruh, Vince is not going to let anyone but him touch his favorite toy, Roman. Okay? He is not going to let anyone but him right for his favorite toy, Roman. Okay? He is not going to let anyone but him breathe near his favorite fucking toy, Roman. Okay?
I got a question.
Go ahead, AJ.
I got a question. Okay, so clearly he's upset about the reunion of the Shield. Clearly.
Obviously. Mm-hmm.
Clearly made that point.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you would be this. Roman comes back, and the first thing Vince does is put them back together because he knows the Shield gets over. So the option is put the Shield back together, or Roman goes after Brock Lesnar one more time, which you guys are talking about. You don't want to see him cram down our throats anymore. How many times do we see that match?
Oh my God!
So the question is, what do we do with him? Because he just relinquished his title. Do we send him after Brock Lesnar, or do we put him back together?
I'll tell you exactly what we do with him. But they're too fucking scared, and Vince is too fucking out of touch to fucking do this shit. I'll tell you exactly what we do with him. Because I said this shit last week. Now, right the fuck now, Wrestle Goddamn Mania, okay? That is the time, since this is the last time the Shield is going to be together, or whatever the hell y'all said, okay? Since this is the last time, Roman needs to be the last dagger in the heart of the Shield, okay?
I agree.
I mean,
I agree with
after Seth beats Brock, because goddammit, he better beat Brock, okay? I don't know bullshit like last year that I had to sit through, okay? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Anyway, listen, after Seth beats Brock, you have the whole shit. To have the pyro go off, have the confetti, yay, Seth beat the Beast, Beast Slayer, all that shit, sell your T-shirts, fucking, do all of that. Get Roman in the ring, have him hug it out, get Dean in there, have them all hug it out. Put the little fucking end graphic like you did with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
Exactly.
Put the end graphic up, and then have him spear the shit out of both of them. Okay?
I agree with that
spear the
story.
shit out of both of them. Toss Dean out the ring. Beat the ever-loving dog shit out of Seth Rollins. Okay? Beat him bloody if you have to. And then go out there on Raw the next night in a hail of booze, okay, and stand in the middle of the ring, smile, and ask one question. What happened to all the love just a few months ago?
Oh, man.
Well, damn. He even has motives, because Seth Rollins was the same guy that ran down and pinned Roman at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Exactly.
So he has all the motive in the world. That would be a great storyline.
Hey, you know what, AJ? You know what?
What's up?
That same shit that we just talking about right now, that shit that we talking about right now, why motherfucker in the damn group, Forrest Whitaker, gonna sit up here and gonna say to me that I'm losing my mind? He said, I'm losing my mind. He said, well, I don't see it that way. Well, why would you want to do that? Because it's logical. I mean, like AJ said, these two got beef, past beef, that has not been resolved. I mean, Seth Rollins took Roman's moment at WrestleMania 31. Okay? And in street terms, you're taking my money. We're not going to allow you to do that shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you, taking a page out of Jason Snake. I'm going to wait until I'm going to get your ass later when you least expect it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they should do for WrestleMania 35. You know what I'm saying? First, have Kofi Kingston as the WWE champion. That's one WrestleMania moment. And then the second, Roman turns heel. And as far as like AEW, you do those two elements, we ain't gonna be talking about AEW because that's gonna be the two hottest storylines in the WWE. Is the WWE gonna pull that trigger? Hell to the motherfucking no. But we'll see.
Well,
I digress.
Well, I mean, can we actually say no, considering the same night that Roman vacated the title and told the WWE Universe that his leukemia is back. That same night, they pulled the trigger with Dean, turning on Seth. And I'm sorry, I've seen those. I remember those moments in the Attitude Era when WWE left the crowd either like on their feet screaming their freaking heads off, or just like in shock and awe, like what the hell just happened?
And that's the thing, back in the day, that's why it kept me. It was like, WWE is like a drug. It's crack.
Right.
It keeps bringing me back. When I'm thinking, like, they're not going to top what they did last week, I was so sadly mistaken they did. Well, however, in this generation right now, we barely is surprised about anything. We are seeing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. So that's why I said, excuse my, my sarcasm / skepticism. I'm just what's up?
This is the thing, though. Like, you guys are coming up with great ideas, like the storyline that he just said about Roman turning and all this other stuff. Why would you give that away on anything else other than WrestleMania? You don't give away big things like that on just a house show, or you don't give away, like he said, the Attitude Era was full of moments where the WWE left us shocked with either surprised, happy, or shocked. I can't believe they did that.
Right.
Like, so at the end of the day, from a back to money, like I said, we're not going to give you that big, gigantic piece of meat on any other show other than WrestleMania, because that's where the whole entire world is watching to make this big turn, if that were the direction that they were to go in. The whole point is the shock value. And to each of you guys, and I know Chris is not going to like this, but to each of you guys that always say, oh, if the WWE doesn't do this, I'm going to stop watching it. Bullshit. Because you said that, let me tell you why you're not going to stop watching it. Because when your ass started watching it, when you was however old you were, for each of us, it's probably a different age. When you started watching it, you didn't understand why you loved it. Now you have an opinion about why you love it, and when they don't do what you want them to do, it's like a relationship. You know what I'm saying? When she don't do what you want her to do, you want to find a new one. Well, guess what? You ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
You ain't going nowhere. You're going to keep watching it and keep being mad until they do something that you actually like say put the strap on Kofi Kingston. You're going to be happy. You will be happy because he deserves it. He deserves it.
I'm gonna say this.
No, let me respond to what he just said.
Hold on, real quick.
Let me respond to what he just
I may stay with WWE. I'm gonna let you respond.
As a man, this man just disrespected me, though.
But I just want to say real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna let you get in.
I'm
gonna let you get in. Remember, Jake, get him later. But anyway. I'm gonna say this. Look here, I might stay with WWE, but I'm cheating my ass off with AEW. Just know that.
Hey, but you know what? You can cheat. That's another thing. You can cheat. You know why? Because you're gonna still keep coming back to the WWE. You know why? It's out of habit. You're gonna do it out of habit.
Yep.
You're gonna watch it because it's almost programmed in you now for however long you've been watching WWE product. You're going to keep watching. Even if you look at it with one eye closed and one eye open to cheat on yourself, to make you think that you ain't watching, you still watching.
Oh my God! I just had a comment. I really didn't have a retort, but I don't appreciate you, calling me almost a snowflake. Man, I just wanted to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? But
we all got a little bit of snowflake in us.
Oh, definitely. You know what I'm saying?
I admit, yes.
I always act like a spoiled bitch when it comes to the WWE. So hey, look. So with AJ saying that shit to me, I'm like, yeah, okay, you put me out there, that's fine. But majority of fans aren't like that. So anyway, so what you guys thought about? Huh?
It goes back to your passion. It goes back to all of our passion for
Indeed.
Why we got into this business, why we like this business, why some of us are getting in the ring and putting our lives on the line for this business, because we love it. No matter whether they do what you want or they do something so completely left field, we love the business.
Exactly.
So no matter what happens at the end of the day, whether it's AEW or WWE or if some other promotion comes up, you're still going to watch wrestling.
Exactly. So, speaking of passion, what did y'all think about the Triple H promo about Batista with his nose ring and skinny jeans attacking Ric Flair last week?
I'll chime in on this one. Honestly, we called this, me especially. I said this was going to happen eventually because it's where that they're not gonna have Batista kind of show his ass at the SmackDown anniversary show and not come back to it. They're just not. For the past, since then, it's where you've had Triple H, even though, he got hurt at the Melbourne show, which, I'm sorry, that shit looked nasty. But it's where it's where that as much as most people want to be like, oh, well, I can step away from the ring and never have the itch. If anybody ever said that to me, I'd be like, okay, really? Like, just not even a little bit? Like, you just don't have that itch to get back in a ring, not just to even work a match, but at least just stand in it, run the ropes a few times, and that be it? No. There ain't no way. It's where that he's been in the ring a few times now, and it's where he had that thought in his mind, well, wait a minute, what would be a good way to bring back Batista but have it mean something? And honestly, I think that was the perfect moment to bring Batista back, and just for Batista to be like, well, hey, do I have your attention now? And then you have Hunter come in, and I'm sorry, anytime I've seen Hunter do a promo, whether it be one of his good Hunter moods, bad Hunter moods, comedic ones, it's where I've always enjoyed them. But when it's the one where he's blurring that real thin line between storyline and reality, that's when I'm really into what he's saying. Because when he starts saying shoot names and he starts, kind of going through what brought him and the opponent to this point or whatever else. Case in point, whenever he did his promos against Booker T, no one can say that those promos did not piss them off. No one can say that.
Bro, it's funny that you said that because I put that shit out. Bro, the hashtag Heels for Life Instagram have been blowing the fuck up for the last couple of weeks. I've been putting out some shit, like, some stuff that, like, really would get fans' attention. The one that bro is talking about, C-Dog, that Booker T bullshit with Triple H. When I say that really, like, stung, like, that, it's one of those moments at WrestleMania that really stands out because first there was the racial overtones in that whole storyline, and then for the simple fact that Booker T didn't win. It just blows my mind, but it's crazy. I just
is it my turn? Because I got something to say, and I don't know who's gonna like it or who don't like it, or I don't care, but I'm gonna say it.
I'm all for it.
Whoever just said what you said about Hunter's promo, I have the utmost respect for him and the way he handled that promo. The way, like I said, even with the Booker T thing, when you cut a promo, the idea is to sell tickets. What better way to get somebody to want to come see you whoop another man's ass is to even push the racial button just a little bit, enough to ruffle some feathers. Yep. He did that with that promo, and then he started the promo with Ric Flair by using his, shoot name and all that good stuff. Here's my problem with this whole situation. I think, and this is my opinion, I don't expect anybody else to back me on this, Batista is the world's biggest waste of money to me.
I will back that to the moon. I will back that to the moon.
I don't even understand why they're wasting Triple H's talent on this motherfucker because
they couldn't get the Rock.
They couldn't get the Rock. They could not get the Rock. So they brought in. They didn't even bring in a B-rated. They went and got a blue, painted up Avenger having ass. Take your Garden of the Galaxy ass back to goddamn Avenger Land with your blue fucking Nike pull-up shoes that you have on. Let me tell you something.
This man said pull-ups.
I respect the work that he put in to become a better worker. But Batista, if there was ever anybody that had 3 left feet, it's Batista. He is the world's biggest waste of money, and I guarantee you the match that he has at WrestleMania, there'll be, you know how we have our WrestleMania moments? There's going to be some WrestleMania bullshit in that match. I guarantee you, because Batista will once again drop the ball, and people will see him for the piece of shit that he really is. So, to end that, I don't care for Batista. Batista is, to me, what Roman Reigns is to you.
And you know what? On that note, I mean, Triple H, like I said, probably one of the best mic talkers of all time, like as far as passion goes. I love Triple H, but as far as, like, I would have to agree with AJ on this one. I'm not digging Triple H versus Batista. I'm just not feeling that at all. Even though, like, you know what I'm saying, how it started, I totally get it. They got underlying beef. Totally get it. But right now, I think it's just a little bit too late. I think that's
the storyline is great. The way they went about handling the story, and see, if you watch and see, all of the promo work, all of the mic work will be all Triple H's passion. This entire storyline is going to ride off of Triple H's back. But the reason why is going to ultimately be to put Triple H over. But it's going to be all off of Triple H's work. Batista will show up. Batista will do a couple of things here and there between now and WrestleMania to pour fuel on the fire. But I guarantee you that most of the stuff that he does will be physical. It won't be because of his talking ability. Because Batista is not the best talker. You see what I'm saying? So it'll all be off of Triple H's passion and his talent. The match itself, they may come up with a really good match, and just like and not to compare, I hate to say this, but the match between Triple H and Sting, you could tell there was a lot of thought put into it, and me personally, I enjoyed it. But Sting is Sting, and Batista is shit. So there's a big difference between Sting and Batista. So it's going to be so one-sided. Yep. Triple H and his team of people, they're going to come up with an amazing story that Batista will slowly be able to help them tell that story. And the way they're going about it is great, but I don't think Batista will successfully make it through WrestleMania without dropping the fucking ball.
I would say, depending on how long this match is going to be, and because I don't know what Batista is doing off screen. I don't know what he's doing off screen. Because to be quite honest, it looked like he was kind of struggling to drag Rick out of that dressing room. But he wants to say The Rock sucks. But anyways, yeah, I mentioned it. I said it because let's be real. It was said in the WCC group. Who says, "Hey, I want to go see that. I want to go see that new Batista movie"? No one ever.
That's because all of his movies are in Walmart on DVD. That's the reason.
There you go.
Shut up, AJ.
It's the truth. And you know what? Matter of fact, I find out he's in the because they're doing another Ip Man movie. The guy that trained Bruce Lee. They're doing another one of those. He's in that with this goofy-looking retarded mustache.
Yeah. Hey, Mike Tyson was in the third one. You see where that went, right? Straight to the
exactly.
Wasn't in the movies.
Exactly.
Hey, fuck what you heard though. The man with the iron fist was Raw though. That was the old movie.
But not for Batista. Not for Batista.
Batista actually played a pretty good role.
That may be the case, but no one went to go see the man with the iron fist for Batista.
Right. But
it wasn't for Batista.
For him. You're right.
y'all fool. The last thing I want to talk about Raw.
But no, real quick. What I was going to say.
Huh?
What I was going to say. No, real quick. Before we talk about Ronda, because I definitely want to talk about Ronda.
Oh yeah, me too.
I don't know what Batista is doing outside, off the screen or whatever. But just like when the last time he was in the ring and he worked for a good 4, 5, maybe 6 minutes before he got gassed, like AJ said, Hunter's going to be putting in most of the work. So I'm thinking, maybe 4 or 5 rest spots, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Y'all trash for like trashing skinny jeans like
AJ
that.
knows what I'm talking about. What is Batista doing outside of wrestling? What is Batista doing?
I don't know. See, so Batista's got money because what can happen is he can take time off from being the Blue Meanie and he can take time off from being a Blue Meanie and actually get in shape for the WrestleMania match. I'm not saying that he doesn't take it. I'm not saying that he doesn't take it seriously. I'm just saying his work is. Batista is really, to me, Matt, you know this. What does it take to be a successful professional wrestler? A body,
cardio,
mic skills, and your ability to work.
Yep.
You can't take away his body. He's got a body, right?
Yep.
Even though he's probably 60 pounds smaller than he was when he first came out. But that's beside the point. That'll actually help him because that helps with the cardio. He's got a body. He can't talk all that great, but his wrestling ability is garbage.
Yep.
He's garbage. I've never liked Batista. I've never liked him, and you can see that he's safe because he doesn't just go out and hurt people, but he's garbage. He's garbage. So
I'll be right back,
I see
y'all.
something.
Okay.
something happening like what Chris was saying. It's a bunch of big moves to where there's a bunch of rest spots where he's just laying around, catching his breath. You know what I'm saying? And trying to get prepared for the next deal, the next spot, because he's not the guy that's going to go out there and bang, 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 and you have this great Triple H is an amazing storyteller because he's been in the ring with some of the most amazing storytellers. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, those guys, Undertaker, those guys. Batista is just showing up. This is all going to be off the work of Triple H. And if they put Triple H over, which they more than likely will, then great, because Batista just said on SmackDown the last time he was on there when they did the reunion, I'm the one guy that you never beat.
Exactly.
There you go. So now Triple H goes back and he, rights the wrong of his career of never beating Batista. And it wouldn't even surprise me if Batista did go over. But it still will be off the work of Hunter because he is the 10 times better worker than Batista is. All Batista got to do is show up. Triple H will do the rest.
I mean, Triple H had a blown pack, and he still kept going. Didn't skip a beat. He kind of took back. He kind of, drew back some of his moves, but blown pack.
This is the same guy we talking about that. We talking about the same guy that blew his leg out and still took the lion salt on the table after his quad was ripped. He could have easily just, rolled out of the way and let everything else happen the way it did, but he still allowed for that to happen. So his level of dedication is on a whole nother level. Batista gets mad because the fans don't react to him the way he wants them to, and he goes home. The promo that he cut was as accurate as possible. You quit when you don't get your way.
Yep.
And that ain't no storyline. That's the truth.
No. When he left the very first time, it was right after he lost to John Cena. What did he do? Took his ball, went home.
Like he always do. So, the final thing that we're going to talk about on Raw, you already know what we're going to talk about. Ronda Rousey turns on the fans and assaults Becky Lynch. I'm sorry. Screw the woo, screw the man. No, damn the man, screw the woo.
Screw the woo, and no more Mrs. Nice Bitch.
I'm not going to even lie to you. This shit gave me life. They should have made her heel. They should have made her heel the day that she came in the WWE. They should have made her heel. But they wanted to make her face of the WWE. Whew. Wow.
You know what? I'll say with that situation, I'll say the same thing that was said to me. When people get into wrestling, everybody wants to be a heel. Not everybody knows how to work face. And I will be the first one to say that I had no clue how to be a face whatsoever. None. Because I grew up I basically grew up to where the Hogan era was ending. All that was ending, where there was a clear cut who's babyface and who's heel, and going into the Attitude Era where that line between which was very blurry as hell.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, do you think it was effective? Ronda's heel turn, do you think it was effective?
Absolutely.
It made more sense. It meant more now. With them doing it now, how they did it, it means more. Just like you said, it gave you life. When she said what she said, it meant more. Yes, this whole time she's been babyface. But when they finally turned her heel, after everything that done happened, and they finally turned her heel, it meant more.
Mm-hmm.
Hey. You said a mouthful with that because when you bring a person in like her who already had a name and who was already established, you already know they're going to bring her in as this popcorn, bubblegum, baby kissing. She's a good guy because of the world that she came from. So people already loved her. On top of the fact you add Roddy Piper to her name.
Yep.
You got an automatic babyface situation, right? So everybody loves Ronda. Everybody wants to see Ronda. And the whole situation with, you saw it slowly happening. This is one of those situations where, you know, Vince can say, well, we give the fans what they want. You were not going to do that until you started seeing how people started taking to Becky Lynch and started booing Ronda. And then you said, okay, we got to make a change. So now the same person that they love, when you're a really good babyface and they turn you properly, you'll be a 10-time even better heel because they loved you. So now that you stab them in the back, they hate you even more. Same thing when you bring a new guy in and he's the destroyer. He comes in. Brock Lesnar came in destroying guys. So when you have this monster that's feared, everybody's scared of him. When he finally decides, okay, I've had enough of Paul Heyman telling me what to do, or I've had enough of this guy, he makes an even bigger babyface when you turn him heel because everybody hated him. So now when you turn him baby, everybody loves him 10 times more than what they hate. They forget about every negative thing he's ever done because now he's a babyface. So what they did was very smart by letting Ronda become it. First of all, she came in and she learned how to work. And she worked good. And each match got better and got better and got better. And she did more. Okay? And then there was different styles that she had to deal with. So you have to give her credit. She's got the credibility now because she actually goes out and has good matches. Mm-hmm. So now they really get on the bandwagon because they're like, oh, shit, she actually learned how to work. She's really trying to do this for real. Like this ain't just a celebrity that just came in and decided that we're gonna do this and they just give her bullshit matches like Goldberg. Like she ain't just running through people. She's actually working. And now you turn her heel. She's gonna be the best heel right now because it's almost impossible. The promo that she cut, she could have went out and broke every one of their arms. Ain't a bitch in the locker room that can fuck with Ronda Rousey. Half of the men in the WWE can't beat her.
None. Like I said from the beginning, Chris, give her time. Give her time. Let her learn and watch. It's going to be that one moment, that one time, and she is going to blow the roof off the house. And that promo, the promo by itself, before she started whooping everybody, before she started whooping up on Becky's ass, the promo alone was fire. And I mean,
you look at her face,
and I mean, it's where
see the way she delivered it. Like she believes. She's not just talking. That ain't just a promo to her. That shit is real life to her. She means every word that she said. There ain't not a woman in that locker room that can touch her. I'm talking with one eye closed and one arm tied around her back. She could probably beat all of the females there. Mm-hmm. So that promo that she cut was the truth. That was the truth that she spoke. She didn't even cut a promo. She went out and told people exactly what the fuck it was.
Exactly. She told Stephanie the business first, and then she went for Becky and Charlotte. Now, I thought it was funny that Charlotte got that one hit, and then that was it, and then she focused more on Becky.
That's a flare for you.
I'm back now.
Not gonna lie there. I'm back, by the way.
All right.
And the look on Charlotte's face when Becky was getting her ass whooped, I was laughing the whole time because I know I've had that look on my face whenever I see someone matter of fact, when I saw Grizz clearing house in a ring, and me and G Smooth standing on the outside, we just kind of like, oh my God, we almost died. We could have died then, but we're out here while they're getting their asses kicked. And that's basically the look Charlotte had on her face, and she was like, it's like she wanted. It's like her hands were basically saying, "So is anyone going to stop this?" Or, oh, "Okay, yeah, we're just going to keep watching." Okay.
Well, why stop it? They got to wrestle each other on the pay-per-view. Why stop it? Let her get her ass whooped.
Exactly, because the more like damage she inflicts, that makes it easy for Charlotte. Easy pickings, you know. So we're gonna move on to SmackDown. So the show begins with Daniel Bryan, you know, breaking his silence about, you know, Kofi Kingston and how he was removed, and now they, you know, replaced him with Kevin Owens. Now, my question to you guys is, are you feeling Kevin Owens as a face? Because I'm not. Or maybe I'm just not used to it.
I think that's what it is, because he's to me, he's such a good heel.
He is.
He's such a good heel. It's almost, you know, one of those things where you don't want to see him be a face, because he's such a good heel that you rather, it's easier to boo him. You know what I mean? But that to me is a sign of a great performer, somebody who can do both things. I mean, like Chris, like Matt said, you know, everybody wants to be a heel because it's fun. There is nothing more fun than being a heel, and that was one of the things that really put me on the map, was me being a heel. But it's actual work to be a babyface, because you have to work to get the people to accept you and like you and want you to win. So there's a big difference in being a heel and being a face. So because like I said, because he's such a great heel, it's almost weird looking at him. And a lot of times, if you're really good at what you're doing, like he is, a lot of times it's just changing who you work. It's not even about you. It's about changing the people that you wrestle. You put Kevin Owens in the ring with a baby face, he's a heel. You put Kevin Owens in the ring with a heel, he's a heel. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just what he was good at. So I prefer him as a heel. I would have rather him come back as a heel and be a heel against a heel. He's still entertaining.
Matt, did you have anything?
I just want. I mean, I love, and like AJ said, I love seeing Daniel Bryan as a heel, honestly, because you get more from him when he's a heel. Don't get me wrong, you still kind of get the same amount of energy from him as a face, but as a heel, it's like he's taking more of his time to basically reel you in, have you dangle for a little bit, and then pull you in. The title reveal alone was hilarious to me, because honestly, I was wondering the same thing the entire time. You've turned into this environment type heel, but yet you're carrying around a belt made out of leather. You have metal plates on there. You have metal plates on that belt. But the biggest thing, it's made out of leather, and you're supposed to be environmentally friendly or an environmental heel. And then when he revealed that hemp title with the wood plates and the, I guess, fuchsia fish rocks that are in it, I'm sorry, I laughed. I know most people said that title looks ugly, but I was like, it makes sense for him. What he's doing currently as a heel, it makes sense for him. And to be quite honest, that's actually how he is in real life. He's an environmentally friendly person. That he's all about the environment. If anybody's ever watched even a little bit of him and Bree on the Total Divas thing, right? Literally, his entire landscape and house or whatever is eco-friendly in some type of way. In some type of way, he's eco-friendly. So honestly, the heel part that he's currently playing makes sense. And the title actually fits his gimmick now. So And I'm sorry, the whole Daisy thing was hilarious. Giving that belt a name was funny. I couldn't help it.
I can't.
Justice for Daisy.
You asked me about Kevin Owens as a babyface, and I told you that he's a better heel to me because he's so good at being a heel. I can't take Daniel Bryan seriously as a heel. I can't take him seriously because, for one, I know we're not supposed to look at the person's stature and size and everything, but he was to me, he was so much better being an underdog because it's natural. He's naturally is. You want to see him win because he's smaller than everybody else in the fight. No matter who he was in the ring with, unless it's like Rey Mysterio or something like that. He's about the same size as AJ Styles, but everybody else he's smaller than. So it's easier for him to be the underdog. I just don't take him seriously. All of the talking that he's doing, and you notice they had to put Ronan. Was it Ronan, the big bald-headed dude, with him? They had to put him with him because now it makes him a legitimate bad guy because he's got a henchman now. Because as a heel by himself, he's just not believable. Like, you're a great worker. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about his ability in the ring. He has the ability to do a lot of the things that he's done, but just taking him seriously as a heel, you're like a spoiled little kid that's going to take all your toys and go home because that's all you can do because you can't fight. You can't beat up anybody because you're too small, so you're just going to take your toys and go home. So I just don't take him seriously as a heel. So
Can I chime in on that?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Here's why I can believe him as a heel. And it goes with kind of what you said. With his size, because obviously he's smaller than a lot of people on the roster.
Right.
With his size, the heel that he plays is perfect because whether we realize it or not, he's playing the cowardly heel.
Right. He's just a small cowardly heel that has to.
Right.
Exactly. But the thing is, like he has to play the cowardly heel because he's small. But while being cowardly, he's also being very calculating. Like if you listen to his promos and whatnot, and like the fact that he has Rowan with him. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking Rowan, but at the same time, it's a big dude there to do his dirty work, like a coward.
And don't shit on him at all because he's talented too.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed him.
He just hasn't been showcased right. I don't.
Right.
I think the best showcase of him was in the Bludgeon Brothers, and that ended because of injury, and I thought
well,
that
even
was
even with the Wyatts, when they used to have the big feuds with the Shield and the Wyatts together, when they had those big 6-man tag matches, and you got 300-pound dudes doing jumping over the top rope and flying through the ropes and different things. I mean, those are some talented guys, and I'm not. And I don't want to take away from Daniel Bryan, but to make him a legit. What you're saying is true, but to make him a legit badass, a bad guy, you give him someone who's bigger than him to do his, like you said, his dirty work for him. That, to me, is the stamp of, okay, he is really a heel because he's got this guy that's helping him keep the belt. Because by himself, he's just Daniel Bryan.
That's true.
So let's go on to the next subject. So R-Truth and his United States Championship Open Challenge match. R-Truth is hilarious. His shout-outs to John Cena and his hero. It's hilarious to me. So what happened was...
Hilarious to me for a different reason, but I talked about that last week.
Exactly. So there was a fatal four-way. There was Samoa Joe, Andrade, and Rey Mysterio. So they all participated in the Open Challenge. And we kind of figured that there was going to be a new United States champion. But the question was who? They gave it to Samoa Joe. Do you think it was right? It was the right choice? I think it was an awesome choice, to be honest.
Absolutely. It's about fucking
I don't
time.
see why not. I mean,
yes,
I mean,
getting ready to say that too. It's about time. They
should
shitted him out of the heavyweight championship belt
so many times.
titles so many times, and I know he did get hurt at one point too, so you got to kind of take that into consideration. But to me, out of the 4 people that were in the ring, not knocking R-Truth because he's been there probably the longest out of the 4 that was in the ring, so he definitely deserved a run. To me, much longer than what he had because he's put in the work. He's been in some bullshit ass storylines and giggled and hee-heed and laughed at. There's a few things that I kind of gotta. I know him personally, so I kind of don't like some of the bullshit that they've had him do over the years. That now, when you go back to that racial statement that we talked about earlier, there's a lot of shit. Now, he agreed to do the stuff, so if he's cool with it, then I should be cool with it. It doesn't mean I have to like it. So I just don't like how they made a fool out of him, even though he was good at it and he made it work. I just don't like how they kind of made a joke out of him. And if you go back and look at his earlier time at TNA, he was a pretty goddamn good worker. So, he just didn't get, to me, WWE has never really used him the way that they could. But to me, Samoa Joe would have been my pick for the next champion there because everybody else, Ray has had his time, of course.
Yeah.
And the Andre, he's amazing. He's amazing, and he will have his time. But Joe has put in the work. So, I don't see why not.
Okay. All right, so just some side notes, whatever, because I really don't want to, there's really not any point of talking about this, but it was something kind of get into the conversation. Naomi versus Mandy Rose. I don't appreciate the WWE squashing Naomi to a prostitute. Next one, let me see. Oh, but Mandy Rose did not leave under her own power because who was waiting for her when she was going toward the back was Asuka, which has been very quiet and have been underutilized by the WWE, and I don't know why. But Mandy got her ass whooped, and I was jumping up and down doing, what AJ would say. I was doing jumping jacks when I seen that shit.
Jumping jacks.
There was a Mustafa Ali. He returned during the Kevin Owens and Rollins match. So, what do you think they're going to? How are they going to use Ali? Because really, he's literally in the middle of a storyline that was supposed to be his. So, how would you utilize him?
Oh.
Right.
It's tough.
Him versus Joe. I put him versus Joe.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
They had some good interactions. They've had some pretty good interactions.
They would have awesome matches. They would have awesome matches.
That's Joe's strong point. Joe working with a smaller guy. Look at Joe and AJ's matches over the years. Joe and Kurt Angle's matches over the years. And I know that's kind of a different, whole different level. But Joe works better to me with smaller guys because when you have that big guy and that smaller guy, there's so much more that can be done, especially if you do it right. And to me, there's not too many people that has a better mindset for the business than Samoa Joe does. Actually, he kicked me. He almost kicked my head off my shoulders one night, and we were just in a battle royal. So I have a respect for him, but he's very intelligent, and his mind for the business is he's an animal, and I think that would be a good match to see those two.
I agree, because as a matter of fact, I for a split second I forgot about Joe being the United States champion, and Mustafa Ali and Joe have unfinished business, so they can definitely have have a little storyline going into WrestleMania. But the last one that we going to kind of touch up on or whatever before we go to FASTLANE, the final build to Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. They are doing a really good job with this storyline. They are really keeping us entertained. Becky is, she's playing out her injured, leg to the T. She's showing
they just need to stick with one leg.
Exactly.
They need to kind of make up their mind on which leg she's going to have injured.
Exactly. And so, Charlotte, toward the, in the beginning of SmackDown, she said she wants to talk to her best friend, Bex, whatever. And she said she just want to have a nice little conversation. Well, her whole plan is you never want to trust a Flair. So toward the end of their confrontation, quote unquote, Flair attacks Becky, which was expected. But Becky flipped the script and got the best of Charlotte. Now, I'm assuming that on Sunday, Becky is going to win and make it a triple threat, officially. Now, what's the chances of Becky not winning? Do you think that the WWE will do that shit? Well, are they stupid enough to do that?
Slim to none.
Well, here's the thing. Back in the day, which when we started to kind of catch on to who was going over at the pay-per-view and who was going under, remember, it was where they would put the babyface over big on the TV show, but then have them go under at the pay-per-view. So, I mean, it could go either way. I mean, yeah, think about it. If Becky loses one, yes, it's going to piss off the entire WWE universe. It's going to piss everybody off that the man lost and that the man won't be a part of WrestleMania. If she wins, yeah, I mean, the WWE universe will be happy, but my thing is, it's where that if you put Becky over, what are you going to do from there? Right. Because you have 3 women currently, 2 of which have been a huge part of the women's evolution, and have basically given everything and then some in their matches, not only together but also against each other and against the other women. So when you have them in the ring against, as she calls herself, the baddest bitch on the planet, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep the belt on Ronda? Which at one point there is the rumor that she was going to be leaving after WrestleMania.
Right.
Do you put the belt back on Flair and move her back to Raw? Or
SmackDown.
Huh?
Well, no, she'd have to move back to Raw.
No, she'd have to go back to Raw. If she wins the Raw Women's title, she goes back to Raw. And the same thing goes with Becky. If she wins the Raw title, she goes to Raw. She doesn't stay on SmackDown. She goes to Raw.
So is Charlotte officially on Raw?
No, right now, just what you're seeing.
For the Raw title still on SmackDown, but if they win the Raw title, they move to Raw.
Okay.
Right. And see, right now, because that's the title that Becky picked when she won the Rumble. Yes, her and Charlotte both have been flip-flopping back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. But after WrestleMania, if either one of them have the title, they go to Raw. Question is, if either one of those women win the Raw Women's title, that's a big hole that's being left in the women's division on SmackDown. Doesn't matter which one. It's going to be a big hole left. And then, if you have Ronda Rousey lose, there's no more rematch clause, so what are you going to do with Ronda?
Right.
You're going to move her to SmackDown, which, don't get me wrong, that would be interesting to see Ronda on SmackDown. But
then you get to see Ronda versus Asuka, which is what I wanted to see anyway. I would have much rather seen in the beginning. I would have much rather seen Ronda and Asuka than Ronda and Becky Lynch. But at the time, Becky Lynch was still just normal Becky Lynch. She hadn't evolved into the man yet. So right at that point, I would have much rather seen Asuka and Ronda at WrestleMania.
I'm gonna break everybody's heart when I tell you what the going plan is.
Well, you ain't gonna break mine, but I'd love to hear. Love to hear it anyway, though.
It's not good. I tell you that shit. It's not good.
So either they're gonna keep it on Ronda or they're gonna put it on Flair.
Well, all right. Ideally, they're gonna go with Becky. Becky's gonna win it, and Ronda's gonna go away. Because her last contracted date for this current run is the Raw after Mania.
Mm-hmm.
So the going plan is she's gonna go away, Becky's gonna win, and as far as the SmackDown title goes, this is where it gets really, really depressing.
Mandy Rose.
It's worse actually. They're going to go with Asuka versus Lacey Evans.
Please tell me you're joking.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about her. Yeah, because she's supposed to get a massive push. Yeah, I heard about that.
Now, do they have any plan to, I know they teased that whole 4-horsewoman thing.
Yeah, they've been
teasing
it. Yeah.
Ronda comes back with them.
Slam.
Yeah, that's what I would think. I mean, and that's cool to me. I don't have a problem with
honestly, they could kind of pull that trigger at any moment, but as of right now, it's not a plan yet. Especially with Ronda going away after Mania.
Well, what better way to bring her back is she's leaving as a heel, but what better way to bring her back than to bring her back with 3 other chicks that have already started making a name for themselves. And then you make you can make that your Survivor Series match because it's the 4 of them against the 4 of them. So you tell your story up. That's another problem that I have with WWE. Like storylines don't last like they used to. Me and Chris talked about that the other day. Mm-hmm. They used to last for a year. You know what I'm saying? Like look at Bret Hart and Austin's feud, how long it drew out, and I mean over not just WrestleMania, but it lasted for some time. They don't do that anymore. A feud lasts for a few months, and then you have a blow off, and then you may have 1 or 2 big blow offs, and then that's it. You move on to the next, and then definitely after WrestleMania, you move on to another opponent. But to me, people get emotionally invested into something. It shouldn't just be over just that easy.
Exactly.
Now, with that being said, what are y'all's thoughts on the SmackDown? Wait, actually, the tag team titles on both shows.
Trash.
Currently,
they're dead.
Except for the Revival, I think. Well, even the Revival, I think both.
They're dead.
Both, they're trash.
Titles on both shows are dead.
Yeah, they're trash. Now, I will say about Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso, I don't give a fuck what anybody say. Jimmy Uso is probably one of the best mic talkers under the radar, best mic talkers in the WWE. That promo that he did on Miz and Shane had me dying.
Had me dying.
I'm gonna say that shit again. That shit I also forwarded on our Instagram page. That shit got 4,000 views right now.
That's where I saw it. That's where I saw it. I died.
That shit had me dying because he was just like, He was like, yeah, I'm just so tired. Me talking about, I'm so sorry, man. I am so glad that now, because I have a bestie, now I can have coffee breaks with my dad. I am so happy that I get to play kickball with my dad. I'm like, dude, oh my God, dude, they gave me so
I can say things like BFF.
Yeah, I'm so glad we are BFFs.
And I can also finally say, yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God!
One of
and
the
they
things,
even went so far to talk about Shane is going to jump off a WrestleMania sign. Oh my God, that shit was hilarious. Oh my goodness.
One of the things I enjoy about the Usos. I mean, I've enjoyed them even when they were, had the face paint and everything like that. And even now, I enjoy them even more now. Because other than the fact of them being brothers and tag team partners, but it's where that it's very, now it's only because they're brothers, but it's where that it's very hard outside of that to basically be tagged with someone. And when you both have to do promos against two other people, or even do promos with the crowd to a crowd, it's kind of hard to feed off each other and then still pop with the crowd.
I agree. It's hard. It's really hard.
Go ahead.
They just it's just second nature to them.
But see, also, like I said, it's because they're brothers also. Same thing with Matt and Jeff. Before Matt and Jeff, even with the Usos, but before Matt and Jeff, if you go back, at one point, people would be like, okay, you're a tag team, but who's this person, who are you and who are you? They would compare it to previous tag teams. Case in point, when at this last show, when I'm in the locker room and Huck is giving us some knowledge, he asked the tag team that me and G went up against, okay, so who's Robert and crap, and I'm gonna kick myself in the ass because I cannot remember. Thank you.
Ricky.
Who's Robert and who's Ricky? And the reason why he said that is because they would pair off. Every now and then you'd see Ricky basically taking all the heat, and Robert was building up, getting ready for that big blow off. And then it's where they would switch. You'd see Robert getting all the heat. Ricky would be on the outside, ready for the big blow off. And it's where, as time went on, it's where that in my generation, it's where you'd be asked, okay, so who's the stronger talker, who's stronger in the ring, or like case in point, if your tag team wasn't doing well, oh, okay, so you're the Shawn Michaels and
you're the Marginetti.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
None whatsoever. I'm not doing that. No disrespect whatsoever.
I was just like, that's an awkward moment.
Yeah. That's why you hesitate.
No disrespect whatsoever. No disrespect whatsoever.
None taken.
None. I mean, but when they broke up the Rockers, me as a kid, I was heartbroken. I hated Shawn Michaels for the longest time.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm just going to ask you this real quick, and then you can get back on the subject. And I don't want to. Okay, so before Shawn Michaels became the Heartbreak Kid, if you go back and you watch all of the Rocker stuff, Marty Jannetty was doing all of the great shit.
Right.
That's all. That's all I was going to say. So, like, I don't feel like one was better than the other. I think they complemented each other, and that's what made them such a great tag team. But all of this stuff, all of the cool stuff that Shawn Michaels went on to go, Marty Jannetty will tell you himself. He had his own demons, and he did what he did to himself on that side of the deal. So that is what no disrespect taken. Marty Jannetty was a great worker. Don't get me wrong, but Shawn Michaels was sort of put himself on a whole nother level.
Indeed, Mr. WrestleMania. So our final piece, whatever. I really wish that I could talk more wrestling with you guys. I know I'm kind of going a little bit fast, whatever. I normally don't do this, but I just feel I'm not myself this evening, and I apologize for that.
Snickers bar.
Shut up. But like I said, I really wanted to do this show this evening. I promised everybody that we was gonna have a good show. We're having a great show like tonight, even though I'm trash. But I'm gonna go over all the matches for Fastlane, and then I'm gonna bring on some callers so they can join the conversation with us. So for Fastlane, the kickoff show is going to be Rey Mysterio versus Andrade. Why this
fucking
is on
injustice,
bro?
That is a goddamn injustice.
Why this is on the pre-show? Why this is on the pre-show?
Agree.
I have no fucking idea.
Oh, I don't know. But I will say this because AJ has said it too. If they have Andrade and Rey as part of the kickoff show, this is what makes or break the pay-per-view. Same thing in the indies. This is what makes or break the show. The curtain jerk match determines the rest of the night. We all know that's going to be an awesome match. We all know that.
My thing is this. Why the fuck you going to put it on a damn match that is a 5-star match on SmackDown, but yet you going to put it on the pre-show?
What did I just say? What did I just say?
Butt Buddies. Bro, you should put the Butt Buddies, a.k.a. the Besties, against, for the tag team titles against the Usos. Well, I'm not saying.
So what did I just say? But if you want to start off your show on the right foot, you're gonna have that 5-star match as the starting match to basically get the crowd into the show.
Match. Yeah,
exactly.
High energy match in the beginning to get the show kicked off. Even though, to me, that's a sacrifice fly because that could be your main event match. I mean, of course, I shouldn't say main event, but that could be a way bigger match than what it is. However, he's right. You set the show up with an amazing match because now people have to follow that. So that sets the standard for the rest of the night. It's only supposed to get better from there.
Well, unfortunately,
listen,
it doesn't. Unfortunately, because the next match it will be.
Wait, Chris.
Yes.
Let me chime in on that real quick. Here's why this is a fuck of a decision. Okay. WWE taught us all the way back at Survivor Series. What did they teach us about the pre-show? That the pre-show doesn't matter.
See, that's that point.
So this is going to be a 5-star match, probably performed in front of about 100 people who are still filing into the arena.
But yeah, you gonna put a match, Asuka versus Mandy Rose, that shouldn't even happen.
Exactly. Put that shit on the God damn it! See, what is wrong with these people?
That's why I don't. And then, on a side note, at a house show, Mandy Rose dropped Asuka on her head, and they had to actually do a no contest because she got injured. Now I don't know what's the extent to that injury.
She's fine. Asuka's fine.
But it seems like she was okay, which was great. But Mandy Rose should not be competing for the Women's Championship. Now, I understand that half of their division on SmackDown is trash. at the women's division. It's trash. The only good one that's on there is literally Asuka. And then you got Naomi, of course. But, Naomi, she's like a butterfly. She just, just flying around,
She's like a butterfly.
Just saying, she's just flying around. But speaking of I don't know if you guys really want to talk about this, but do you want to?
Well, first off, I think Andrade is going to win, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. All right, we can move on. This match is going to be pretty awesome. I think the triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team Championship is going to be Aleister Black, Ricochet, the Revival, and I do not know why Glorious Tag Team is on this bitch. Do you guys even care?
Honestly, I want to see, because and with all three of these teams, you have a different style, and within each team, you have a different style, and they work together well. They put on a great show. So honestly, it's where this isn't one of those matches where you just want to get up and either go to the bathroom, get your popcorn, or whatever. That's not one of these matches. Because not only is it for the tag titles, but you want to see how they're gonna go up against each other. Because you have Rhodes and Gable, who are basically the same when it comes to wrestling style. Which, I'm sorry, watching Gable work, I don't want to say he's small, because he's not. He is. When I watched him, literally, correct me if I'm wrong, AJ, but it looked like he deadlifted Big E into that German.
He did.
You did.
Gable to me is amazing. He's an amazing athlete.
Right.
He's not big.
No, he's not. By no means.
But his ability, he has an ability, he's a legit, shooter. So, he's the truth, for real. But he just, I don't know why they bounced him around, and they put him with Shelton, who is one of my favorite people in the whole world. But I don't know. I don't know why. I don't like that tag team together. I think the Revival is not going to win because I really think they're going to do the right thing and put it on them at WrestleMania. I would hope that they do that.
All right. The next match, Tamila. Go ahead. You want to say something, bro?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that I can see the Revival losing the titles because I feel like Vince may be getting a little frustrated with them at this point. Because to him, he's probably like, all right, I've given y'all just about everything you said you wanted. I gave y'all the tag titles. Y'all are having a run, and you're still not happy. Fuck y'all. Give me my belts back. So I could see them losing the titles for that. Even though I think it'd be cool to put them on Ricochet and Aleister Black, I also kind of don't want to see that because, again, the tag division is fucking trash. And also because, NXT is taped up to about March 27th. So to have them with the titles on one show and not on the other is going to look kind of weird. So I guess I could kind of see Roode and Gable winning.
Interesting. So the next match, the Hug and Boss Connection versus the the semi-trailers or whatever you want to call them.
Semi-trailers.
I'm
Jesus
sorry.
Christ. Samoan fucking slaughterhouse, apparently.
Nia Jax versus Nia Jax and Tamina. So what you guys think? Yeah, I'm not digging that match. Just not. Anybody? I'm just not.
I mean,
it just to me. I just you guys remember Typhoon and Earthquake?
Yeah, I remember them. All
right, so to me, Nia Jax and Tamina are the Typhoon and Earthquake of the women's division, and I feel like once they get the titles, they should be dominant for a while, and they should beat everybody because why not? They're huge. They're bigger than the average woman in the women's division. I mean, give the title, give the champions somebody to fear and somebody to, be a good heel for a while. And then, I don't think they should have put them on Sasha and them without them having to work for it to get, let somebody else get them and then go after them for them to become the tag champions. It just kind of means
That's
more.
What I think, yeah.
So I wouldn't be unhappy, with them putting them on Tamina and Nia for a little while, and or for some time, and let them have it, and let somebody come along and actually have to work to beat them.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's kind of why I think Tamina and Nia are not gonna win here, because I feel like if they were gonna put the belts on them, they should have put them on them first, and then, like you said, had Bayley and
then
Sasha,
let them come after them.
Come after them and chase. You could have took that to Mania, and had them winning that Mania.
Mm-hmm.
But now, okay, it's like, okay, they already have them, so why have them lose them now?
Exactly.
Well, that's the beauty of this whole thing. We get to see all of this shit unplay and figure out, how it's gonna unfold. And I mean, because really, at first, nobody, I wasn't that interested in them and being, tag champions. I wanted them to have to chase it, but they got them now. So if they drop them, it's like, well, like you said, why'd they give them to them? But
exactly.
It is what it is.
So next match, the Usos versus the best tag team in the world. I don't know who gave them that tagline for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'm just ready for this storyline to be over. I do see the Usos retaining, and I see Miz turning heel on Shane McMahon and them having a match at WrestleMania. So that's how I feel. Let's go around the room.
Miz is another one of those that's better as a heel. To me, he's better as a heel than he is as a face. In my opinion, I'd rather see him as a heel because it's just natural for him. So I see like what you said, I see them having that match at Mania and then Miz turning on Shane. I don't think they should take the straps off of Usos. I think they need to roll on with them for a while.
Anyone else?
I think the Miz is going to turn heel on Shane here, probably, and set that up for Mania.
Matt? I think Matt disappeared.
I think he disappeared.
I think he disappeared. Hold on, let me see if I think he's here. Oh, yeah, he just came back. Okay. Hold on a second. Matt, you here? Matt? Oh, shit, damn, I still got him on mute. Hold on. My bad.
I'm here. Okay.
All right. I was wondering why you disappeared too.
I think Shane is going to turn on Miz only because it's where, crap, you know what? I take that back because honestly, I agree. I do like seeing Miz as a heel, and honestly, I think it would make more sense because it's where that I see Miz using that same thing of where my dad looked up more to you than he even did to me type deal. So yeah, I see Miz turning on Shane.
All right. So the next match, this is no brainer: Charlotte versus Becky. I think we already talked about this, but
I don't know that it's a no brainer though. I really don't, because I think the WWE. I think the WWE is going to try to throw some type of curveball, because everybody is expecting for Becky to win because they want her to be in that match. They wanted it to be just the two of them anyway. They didn't even want it to be a triple threat match. So, to me, I kind of feel like it might be still, because we still got time. And, they always come up with something. And that's the whole point. The shock factor is what we need. We want something that's exciting. We want something that's different. We want them to be creative. So if they give it to Becky and they say, okay, we're going to put her over, everybody is going to expect that. So if they swerve us and say, okay, put Charlotte over, but yet just look at the Royal Rumble. Becky Lynch technically wasn't even supposed to be in the Royal Rumble.
Nope.
So they may try to throw us a curveball and try to really be creative and say, okay, look, let's give these people that think they know it all something to chew on, because this is something different. So it'll be exciting to see them go into it in another direction and another angle and try to figure out a way to keep us on our toes to actually want to see what's going to happen.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, he pretty much took it. I was gonna say the same thing.
Okay. All right. So the next match, Shield versus Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley.
Who gives
Everybody say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
Not only that, but come on now. Let's on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's
Shield.
Next.
Shield.
Next.
Oh. Okay. All right. So the main event: Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship. Now, I'm just a little side note. New Day have made it known, because right now they're in India right now. They're doing a little tour right now. But I think what the WWE is trying to do is they're trying to keep them off TV. And I'm thinking, I know this is a little bit far-fetched, but I feel that New Day is going to come back with a temporary gimmick. Now, this is far-fetched, but it would be nice if they came back as the Nation of Domination. You know what I'm saying? Because Vince stole that moment from Kofi, and he comes back and interferes in that match. But I do still see Daniel Bryan retaining. Yeah, New Day is going to be a factor in that match.
I see New Day at WrestleMania. I see Kofi in WrestleMania. Some kind of way. I don't know how, but I just don't feel like I don't feel like they just snatched that from him just like that, and it's just going to go without no explanation, no finish, you give them this push, and not just because it was Black History Month. I think there's a reason that they pushed him like they did, because I think they're going to do something with him. Putting the strap on him is extreme. I mean, it would be cool to see, but I just see Kofi in the main event somewhere and doing something at Mania.
So there was Mitt just asked us a question. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up real quick. Actually, this is to me and to Aaron. Does this set up a return for Sami Zayn to cause KO the title at FASTLANE?
It could.
That would be cool too.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I think this will be very interesting because at one point I think Sami Zayn was going for the WWE Championship. Was that correct?
Yeah.
It was or
okay. And I think at one point Kevin Owens did cost Sami Zayn. Now, don't quote me on this, but yeah, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have unresolved issues as well. It's been going on for the last 25 years. And remind you, Kevin Owens is a face, which I still don't understand that shit. But Sami Zayn's supposed to be coming back pretty soon. He's also been quiet, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how he interacts with that match, if he even comes back at all. Yeah, so that's my theory on that. Anybody else had any comments about this match?
Definitely, I see New Day getting involved. If not,
Yeah, it's something to really think about because, we got like a whole bunch of scenarios with this whole, main event. But I still see, like I said, I still see Bryan still retaining.
Yeah,
I don't see him losing. I don't see him losing before WrestleMania. I think he will go into WrestleMania with the title. But what happens while that match comes up? I do feel like there's going to be a lot of elements involved. I don't think it's just going to be a straight match between Daniel Bryan and whoever it is that they have him, wrestle against. I don't feel like it's just going to be a one-on-one encounter without any type of interference or anything. And if Kofi is not in the match, I see him having something to do with the match because, I just don't feel like they pushed him for nothing.
True. Anybody else? Y'all quiet? Okay.
No.
All right. So, unfortunately, I have to end the show now. I gotta take my medication, whatever, so I can get a little bit better. But what we're gonna do is tomorrow. Even AJ, if you're available, I think you're in WCC. If not, I'm gonna get you an invite. So, like I said, I don't want to cut it short. I'm just not feeling well right now. But tomorrow for Aaron's show, it will be a continuation of the predictions. I couldn't get around to everybody tonight because, like I said, I got to kind of speed this up or whatever. But tune in tomorrow night. I believe 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern for Aaron's show in WCC. If you guys want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram at #Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast on Instagram.com. Also, you can follow us on YouTube at Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast. I'm sorry, Heels for Life Wrestling Podcast. I don't know if I even said that right, but special thanks to AJ Steele. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast having you. We're definitely gonna have to have you again before our 100 episodes in about a couple of months down the road. So, to that time, I am your host, Mr. Team Briggett, and that's Mr. C-Dog over there. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for Aaron's Beast Mode podcast, and we'll see you guys later. Good night.
All right. Appreciate it.
Later.